welcome to a new video. I thought today I would quickly do a one-take wrap-up of what I read in July. If you haven't seen on my channel before, every month or every 2 months I do a one-take wrap-up to show you what I read in the month, and it's basically just my way of getting out of having to edit anything because I hate editing. So let's see what I read in July. I will be honest, I read almost nothing in July, so this is going to be a quick video. Let's just jump into it. I don't have a lot to say. So first off, I've got my iPad with my Goodreads pulled up. I finished Stranger Things: The Other Side by Jody Houser. It is a graphic novel retelling of season 1 of Stranger Things, focusing more on what Will goes through while he's in the Upside Down, and it kind of connects to the story that we're seeing in the show, seeing with all the other characters. I thought it was a lot of fun. I love Stranger Things. It was a short, quick read. I did like seeing Will's side of things because the show never really does take that into account. It never addresses what happens to Will. And while I think I'm not sure if this is completely canon to the show, I really liked seeing what he went through on the other side, and how he survived the Demogorgons and everything. And I think it is interesting knowing all that we know now, like through season 4. I really do wonder if there was something else keeping Will alive in the Upside Down. Like, there's just no way this kid is escaping the Demogorgons. Like, I almost think that there is a specific reason that he was not killed in the Upside Down, and I'm very interested to see what that could be in season 5. But yeah, I read that. It was fun. 5 stars. Next, I read Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. This was a really fun book. I did really like this. I'm not sure, I originally thought it was a standalone, but after finishing it, I could see it either way. I could see it kind of just being left open, or I could see him writing more. I need to look up and see if what the case is. But regardless, I really enjoyed this story. It's based off the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or whatever that story is, which I know absolutely nothing about. I know it's a book and then was made into a Disney film later, like in the 60s or something. Never read it, never seen it, couldn't tell you one single thing about the story, but this is a retelling of sorts of that. And I had a lot of fun with it. All of the technology and the science and everything that was brought up was just so interesting. I loved the characters' dynamics. The only thing I didn't love is the main character, the betrayal that she has to experience was so painful to read, and I kind of wish that it had been a more positive relationship, but it also fit for the story, so I really liked it. I loved the animal characters, especially the orangutan who loves the Great British Baking Show. It's just so out there, but so Rick Riordan. And then what else? I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It wasn't like mind-blowing like how I love Percy Jackson, but I did really enjoy the characters in the story. And I will say something I was really just astonished by and I really loved is the main character. She's, I think, 14. She's a freshman in high school, and there's a portion of the book for a couple days where she starts her period and like is so sick feeling that she has to like stay in bed for a while, but she still, I mean, eventually has to get up and be dealing with the actual crises going on. But I just, like, I've never read a middle grade book that periods are mentioned and she like has to talk about like, oh, she gets pads and then she takes, you know, Tylenol and all of this, and like it was just a really cool thing. And it's cool to think that, you know, a 12-year-old out there is picking up this book and reading that and seeing that in a story, because like 12-year-old me would have been just blown away seeing that in a book. Even now, I'm 24, the only books that I've read that explicitly mention periods is Sarah J. Maas's books, and that's it. And that's not, I read a lot of books. It should come up a little more often. The only other times it comes up is in like romances with a surprise pregnancy because there's a lack of a period. Which is not what I want. I want it just to be talked about with characters like it's normal, because it is. So I really, really liked that inclusion, especially coming from Brooke Riordan, who's a guy, but you know, he writes these books for children of all kinds, of all genders, so I like it. Next, I read Miss Marvel Volume 1. I gave that other one 5 stars, by the way. Miss Marvel Volume 1 by G. Willow Wilson. I don't know. I haven't read Volume 2 yet, so I think I'll get a better picture of the character once I do. I liked Kamala, and I love the show on Disney Plus, which is why I picked up the comics, but I don't really like the side characters as much in the comics as I do in the show. I think the way that they have painted the friendships in the show, I think just work a lot better than in the comics. I don't really like any of her friends in the comic books. I still like her parents and her brothers, or her brother, which they haven't come up as much in the comics yet because I've only read Volume 1, but I wish that her friends had a little more personality in the comics, or in the case of Bruno, I wish he had less personality. Like, I don't know, in the comics I don't like him at all, and he's probably my favorite character in the show other than Kamala herself, so I don't know, it's just weird, but I'm glad they like took that opportunity for improvement in the show. But overall, I'm really liking the characters so far. I'm more interested in trying to understand the mythology of the character a little bit more, because I'll be honest, I enjoyed the show, but I also found it really confusing, which most of the Marvel stuff, I kind of take a couple watches before I understand everything, and I've only watched it once so far, so I think maybe I just need to watch it a couple more times, read the comics, sort of understand where these powers came from a little bit better so I understand the story. So I gave this a 4 stars. I enjoyed it, but definitely not my favorite comic of all time. Next, I read The Strangers by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This was really fun. This was a middle grade. I saw it on a list of books that was like books you should read if you like Stranger Things. I obviously had a very Stranger Things filled month. And I liked this one. It was fun. I kind of wish it was a one-off. I don't really want to go on and pick up the sequels. I don't know if I will or not. But I did really enjoy this book. It was not what I expected, but it was very creepy and very interesting to read. It's a group of kids who find themselves traveling to an alternate dimension because what originally sets this off is that there are missing kids, and the kids went missing in the same town that I live in, so that was a little creepy for me to read. I wonder if the author's from here. Like, I don't think I live in like a very known town, but what do I know? Anyway, the kids went missing, and they discover that these kids have the same exact names and birthdays as them, and they think that's really creepy. And then their mom mysteriously says she has to leave on a business trip, and so they start investigating because they think this is weird, and eventually find a door to another alternate dimension, so the upside down basically. But this is different in that it's the same as our world, but it is run by a very different government. It's like a dystopian type of thing. It gave me very much Hunger Games vibes. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was creepy and fun, but I just do wish it was a one-off story rather than a series. It ended in a way that like, oh, maybe I'll be okay never picking up the sequel, but definitely there are a lot more answers to be answered. Like, we really didn't resolve a lot, but I don't know if I'll continue the series, but I had a lot of fun reading it while I did. So yeah, and then I gave that a 4 stars. And then lastly, because I told you I barely read anything this month, I read The 1000th Floor by Catherine McGee. Why? I don't even know what to say about this book. I actually have a whole review, so I will kind of look at that and talk about it. So what gets me is I've read this book before. I read this book when I was in college, I think when I was a freshman or a sophomore. So it's been 4 years since I last read it, but I was thinking it's a reread, I'll really like it. I remember it being very sci-fi, fast-paced, which is what I felt like reading. How did I forget these plot points, and how did I read them the first time and was not horrified by this? Like, how did I read this the first time and enjoy it? I don't know. Like, these might have to be books that I literally unhaul off my shelves, because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, why was this written? And I do like Catherine McGee. She's a nice lady. I follow her on Instagram, and I will probably pick up her other series, the Royal series. But this one, I think I'm giving up on. And I own the second book too, but I don't think I'm going to read it. So I'm just going to talk spoilers. This book is old at this point. If you don't want spoilers for this book, click out now. See you later. I have nothing else to talk about after this book. So, I think I give it like a 2 stars. So the thing is, most of the characters I really enjoyed. Watt and his like AI computer, super cool plotline. I kind of wish the entire book had just been about him. But like, Aaron had an interesting storyline. Lita was okay. I'm not really into the drug storyline, but she had a lot of interesting things going for her. Aaron finding out who her father really was, that was really sad but really interesting. And even Avery could have been an interesting character. She was genetically engineered to be perfect, to be the perfect image of what beauty is, which is an interesting story in this sci-fi, huge, New York City sky-high building that everyone lives in, and you don't even have to leave to live there and all that. She's interesting on her own. We could have left it there, but then she had to be in love with her brother. Why was she in love with her brother? Why? It was so bad. And yes, it's her adopted brother, but they have been living together as brother and sister for their entire lives almost. He moved in when she was like 5 or 6 or something. Why was that written? No, we don't need that. And part of me was like trying to rationalize it in my head. I'm like, well, back in the day when I watched The Fosters on ABC Family, I didn't mind that relationship, but that was different because I can't remember those characters' names, but the girl and the guy in The Fosters, when she moves in and they like start liking each other, but they've known each other for a couple weeks, couple days. Like, they are strangers who are now being told they are foster siblings. Avery and Atlas in this book have acted as siblings for almost their entire lives. So like, what's wrong in their brain chemistry that has led them to both have these feelings for each other? There's a lot psychologically to unpack here, and I don't want to unpack it. I don't want to be witness to this story anymore. I'm just done. I'm done. And I just want to know why she wrote this, but more importantly, why it got published. Like, was this just a product of the times? Like, was this just popular at the time? I don't know. This was not that old. Like, it's like 6 years old or something. I just don't get it. And like, I remember My Life with Derek. I do, but that was another situation where they didn't know each other as kids, wasn't it? Like, why was this written in this way? I just wanted Gossip Girl, but make it sci-fi. I got too much of the Gossip Girl, not enough of the sci-fi, basically. I don't know if any plot like that ever happens in Gossip Girl. I have not seen that, but either way, is that everything? Oh, the other biggest thing that I had a problem with is, I wish the character that died at the end had been Avery and not who actually died. I think I would consider picking up the sequel if Avery had been pushed off of that tower, because I hated her, and I hated her a lot. I hated Atlas too, so he could have got pushed off the roof too. It doesn't matter to me. So yeah, that one was not good. And now I haven't finished a book since then, and I finished that like a week and a half ago. So that tells you how my reading is going. So yeah, whatever. That's my one take wrap up. That wasn't very fun, was it? But I hope you liked my updates anyway. I will see you for my August wrap up next month. Hopefully I will read more books this month. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!